I would like to take a moment and discuss willpower with you. The power of willpower. Ooh. Because willpower essentially is the foundation of the strength of our manifestations and our magic. So this, I would like to be my last cigarette. So as I'm walking home after a long night, left my friend in the car so he can get to work. And my friends, we take care of each other like family. I'd like to share the moment with you where ideally I smoke my last cigarette. And excuse the hair, it's a bit crazy, but I accept myself. Anyways, cigarettes, aren't they the joke of life? I realize there's a lot of cars driving by, so I'll speak a little louder so you can understand despite the traffic. So, I suggest to you that cigarettes are part of one of the world's biggest jokes. The joke on us, eh? I didn't smoke for the first 35 years of my life. I was all against cigarettes. I was aware of it. I've always been very aware of many things, deep details, but essentially that these are poison we pay for. Poison, that's the joke, isn't it? Society has conditioned things in such a way that we fall into this and we pay them for poison. Here, take my money, poison. No, I'll do it for you. Shelves of poison. I want that type of poison. Well, why do you like that cigarette over that one? Tastes a little different. For me, all the cigarettes are the same, but the long-term hardcore smokers, no. I like it smooth, I like it rough. Everyone has their own taste, right? This is why they bombard us with choices. And we get lost with them. If there's one cigarette, it's much easier to quit. Oh, I don't like that brand. I don't like cigarettes. I don't like a cigarette. But there's so many. Little something for everyone. You don't feel so bad. When the society is flooded and overwhelmed with something like this, it becomes normalized. It becomes stronger than a lot of people. Because again, willpower. You know, I love that Black Eyed Peas, Will I Am. His name is William. Wonderful play on words, but it kind of speaks more of it because I've heard this man speak privately when he's not singing. He's brilliant, Will I Am, you know? But just the name, Will I Am will. Willpower, Will I Am. If you got to think that of yourself, aside from that it's his name, but privately yourself, Will I Am Will I Am. It's a motivational name. That's why, one of the many reasons I love this guy, it's kind of a subconscious knock up. Understand your willpower. Your willpower, your level of willpower, the control of your will define and shape your existence. And your control or lack thereof it will determine if you're in shit your whole life or you benefit and you prosper. Okay? With a healthy control of willpower, even if it's not maximum, the majority of the time if you control of what you're doing, what you want, even if you don't have a lot of money in life, you'll live a good life because you'll make good decisions, healthy decisions for yourself. Right? So I want this to be my last cigarette. Like I said, I didn't smoke for the first 35 years of my life. Totally against it. And I was working at a job and everyone's taking breaks, smoke break, and I'm working my ass off. I'm like, not a petty person, but I'm like, hey, I want some more breaks too. It'd be fun. So I started smoking with them. And lo and behold, I got addicted a bit, right? Because as much as I know it's poison, for me, it wasn't so much a societal pressure as it was a decision to kind of step into that life. 35 years, I haven't been with the smokers. Some people are smoking. Oh, Shane doesn't smoke. They respect me for it. But it's like a don't talk about a type of alienation, right? Even when people don't acknowledge things like you're not part of the group, you hang out with us, when you're not like the tribe, they think differently of you. But luckily, not smoking, a lot of people think good of it, right? But subconsciously, they judge. We're all conditioned to judge subconsciously. Again, if I've already discussed in the other video, light and shadow, light is conscious and the shadows are subconscious. Ooh, let's not get hit. Okay? So I'm conscious that it's poison. Made a choice to partake a little bit. Started connecting with my friends. I was getting the result I wanted. But in the combination of continuing to smoke with these people I worked with and then other friends, like, oh, Shane smokes now, right? The chemicals also, it affects me. I'm human, neurotransmitters as such, all that chemical romance in the brain. It's not always a healthy romance. I'd like it to be, and it can be, again, willpower. So in smoking my last cigarette with you, of course, I've tried for the past few years to quit. I used to jog all the time. I had a good oxygen absorption rate in my body, but I understand that my lungs are suffering, right? Because vapes clog horribly your lungs with the vegetable glycerin, the propylene glycol, that VGPG. all these fluids you smoke, it's unnatural. And while they say it has less chemicals than a cigarette, yes, cigarettes have many chemicals. They're designed that way. Formaldehyde, all these other things. I've even heard a man speak about it. They put more chemicals in the tip, like, I don't know if you said chocolate or things that taste good, so when you spark it up, you get that big rush, you know what I mean? They're hyper designed. There's a lot more science in that than you think. As you know, mankind spends the most money and time, sadly, on the weapons of war. Because if we spend as much time developing things that healed and cured and made people love as much as we did blowing them up and blowing them away, helicopter, Apache tank, blowing your shit open in the way, bye-bye village, it would be a beautiful place. But there's a lot of profit in war, right? And this is the war in our health, the war against ourselves. Cigarettes go so much deeper than you know. Okay? Through the process of me sharing myself with you in this channel, I would like to continue explaining things simply and more advanced, to the point of absurd complexity, because I see the world on levels that I can't normally talk to people about, because when I do, I'm too much. They don't even want to know. Shane, I'm not ready. So, you know what? I'm not going to be a dick. I dropped it because that's the custom, eh? People are so used to just throwing cigarettes on the ground like it's nothing. You see cigarettes everywhere, but honestly, it's not a good thing. It's litter. So, cigarette, I won't be a dick about it. I'll be conscious. My willpower is, I'll carry this with me. I'll find a garbage can. It's the little things that count, right? When you overlook the little things, unknowingly you overlook the big things, right? I had a notion in my head when I was young, like, I want to do something grand. I want to not just be big in the world, but I want to change the world, right? Be the change you want to see in the world. And it's the accumulation of the little things and the cultivation of who we are that we can make big changes. So yeah, no littering. Anyways, yeah, cigarettes. Very simple, very complex. From the simplistic angle of things, cigarettes, if you understand, they're not healthy for us. But nicotine, in a sense, we've come to find out, is neuroprotective, right? In nicotine leaves, they can cultivate all kinds of vaccines and cures and other things that implement. The nicotine plant, the leaf, is very versatile. But if we have a drop of pure nicotine on our tongue, it'll kill us. So just like everything to an extreme or too much is a poison. You can even overhydrate. Water can be dangerous, right? So again, the simplicity of a cigarette is the nicotine. That's how people used to roll tobacco leaves. Oh, nicotine, it was simple. We get that nicotine burst. And then everything becomes industrialized in this capitalistic society. Even before we were fully capitalistic, it was already rolling. But cigarettes have become something that is just like a form of control, right? I'll diverge a bit with another example. A baker makes bread. Bread has been around since we found a way to process grain and turn it into some food. Oh, fluffy loaf of bread, great. Everyone loves bread. And bread used to be pure. And in Italy, when they make bread, it's day bread. They make it that day. It's good that day. It rots after. There's no preservatives. It's simple. It's whole. It's like almost raw bread from nature. Italy, they do things right. Beautiful food. Love you, Italy. So this healthy bread is great, but everything, like again, capitalistic bread, they want to sell things in the supermarket. It has to last, because if we gave people day bread, we'd have to bang it out every day, and then we'd have to count on these people buying it, and then not have it go, you know what I mean? So there's so many preservatives of other things, and I digress to that point to explain also cigarettes. They started simple. We smoked tobacco leaves, and it became more, and then we add things, and oh, that's good. But in the adding of things, it goes from simplicity to complexity. And by design, on purpose, they make it so complex, they put whatever the F they want in it. We don't ask questions, because they have chemicals and additives and ingredients we can't even begin to pronounce. It's at the point now where you have to be a high-level chemist. You have to be like, let's say a couple years into like a university level program. Beyond your Bachelor of Arts, your Master's, you have your PhD in chemistry. Now you can pronounce that shit, right? Without stuttering. So, It's important that we go over the simplicity and the complexity. I adore Albert Einstein, and something that's always fresh in my mind is when he was quoted saying, if you cannot explain something simply, you don't understand it. And that's so true. Because if you can't explain the complexity, you can't break it down and not lose the message. So, simple point, cigarettes are bad. Cigarettes are a manipulative force that gets us hooked on something to toxify ourselves. And when we're comfortable smoking cigarettes every day and poisoning ourselves with cigarettes, we're comfortable poisoning ourselves with a great deal of other things, right? Because we've given up on a big portion of our health to smoke this. You know, we're the only species that not only created something, but even a gorilla, they don't go and smoke things. You know, if a gorilla sees a fire, he's not thinking, hey, I should inhale that smoke. We've cultivated poison to a level so unnatural. Our lungs are so much more important than I can explain in this video, but it's an attack on our respiration, our oxygen consumption. Because when your oxygen levels of absorption are high and your circulation is good, your lymphatic system's rolling, we're healthy. A body filled with oxygen can fight off diseases and bacteria, pathogens, our immune system, as it were, which I would refer to as our system of elimination via the lymphatic system. When there's not a lot of oxygen, no circulation, it slows down, it stagnates. So a cigarette is a big attack on our health. It's a wonderful place to start. You know, working on willpower is something I've been cultivating the conscious part of my existence, let's say. Because before, when I wasn't aware of myself, you know, you think, oh, cigarettes are bad, and then you start smoking, but you don't feel bad because you lose the thought of it. You just go into a routine, a system, and as long as you're not aware of these routine systems and what I call subroutines, you become a victim of them and yourself. So being conscious and aware, being the will I am, is hyper important. So I really want to share it with you, because there's many times I've tried to quit, right? But we try to do it for other people. The reasons, oh, my girlfriend doesn't want to see me smoke, my family doesn't like it, I stink, it smells bad, it's poison. You may get there, you may not, because you fall back into the chemical addiction, the societal pressure, being with friends. You see it everywhere. Like me, I've tried to quit so many times. Go hang out with my friends, or I go to the pub to have a beer. You know, you have a beer, you want to have a smoke. It's the compulsion to fall back into a routine that you established, consciously or unconsciously. That's a negative addiction. They just feel comfortable there. It feels like home. So many people suffer with pain. We don't want to be in pain. We don't want to feel bad. But for a lot of people, pain feels like home. So follow Nimbus on the adventure. Follow me into a place where we can elevate ourselves beyond the things that control us and control ourselves to a level that this has no power over us anymore. It's a wonderful place to start. And I propose this to you because if I show you and publicly that Nimbus no longer smokes, it's more important to me. I'm doing it for myself. And also when I present it to all of you, you seeing that sends me the energy like, oh, Nimbus doesn't smoke. A lot of you may be like, oh, he's full of it, he's gonna keep smoking. That's fine. But I block that energy because I choose, the will I am, to stop smoking. You know, I'll teach you eventually, because it takes time, to show you true deep manifestation, how it really happens, right? So if I'm thinking I want to quit cigarettes, it depends on the level of importance that carries for me. Because the level of importance in something you want, the depth in which you feel it, the emotional connection, the intensity, that's what creates our magic, our manifestation. So I say, oh, I'm going to quit, but I don't care, and someone offers me a cigarette tomorrow, oh, this will be my last one. Then the next day, this will be my last one. I'm half-assing it, right? Your willpower is weak because other people can influence you. You're not taking it seriously. You have to take yourself seriously. You have to understand that all you have in the world is you. See? We try to change everything around us, but if we want to change the things around us, we change ourselves. So we develop a level of control, self-control, and interaction with the world. That's how we change the world around us. Huh? Self-control, willpower, that's where it all starts. The foundation of a good life, healthy choices, and truly our magic, which some of you may and may not understand, because I've been wanting to share myself with the world for a great deal of time. But how do you come into the biggest dance that exists? The whole world's dancing together. I want to dance, but you don't want to stumble in. See? It's like imposter syndrome. No, I'm going to put this in my pocket. My hands are cold. It's cold. Imposter syndrome, when you start something new, but you don't feel like you should be doing it. I don't belong here. Oh, it's a nice dance. I want to dance, but I'm not a dancer, right? We have to get past that. No one wants to be bad at something at the first, but we have to be able to go past that and let ourselves be new. See? This is the true beauty of children, of their energy. They don't even think about those things. You know, those concepts and ideas haven't even been put into their head yet. They don't know about highly competitive sports, Olympics, all these things. They don't know about judgment. They don't judge themselves or other people. So if a kid sees you dancing, monkey see, monkey do, whoo, he starts dancing with you, doesn't care. Okay? We have to regress and choose to go back to a point where we love ourselves, and imposter syndrome doesn't even have a place to exist. Right? Because understanding psychology and the subconscious deeply, we have to understand that every experience in our life that's overwhelmed us and bombarded us, even the calm ones, it slips into the subconscious and it builds something in our minds. If you're not aware of it, it's still building. It's always there. The light and the shadow are the concepts I introduce in my book, The Philosopher's Alchemy, as transparent duality. Okay? Even Thoth, Hermes Trismegistus, the 3 times great, he talked about, I believe in the Hermetica, or even the Emerald Tablets, if you're not familiar with that, check it out. Everything's duality. And that's a wonderful place to start, because I would lightly suggest to you something very heavy. Nice little oxymoron there. That duality, everything is dual, but it goes beyond that, right? There's dual, there's tri, there's quad, like it goes on to infinity. Anyways, the duality, the transparent duality, I've coined this term because I want to explain to people the duality is like see-through. It's not invisible, it's transparent, because if you know where to look, or you do see it, sometimes people see it, but it's transparent, like a window. You see through the glass, you can see outside clearly, the window's there, but if you look at the window, it becomes blurry beyond that. You see the window, it's transparent, okay? So in the nature of light and shadow, as I've explained it in the book, as we look around in the world, okay, if we take a moment to look around, I see everything around me, and I'm seeing it because the light is hitting it and reflecting into my eyes. But isn't it such an amazing thing that the light has the capacity to show me the world around me, but it doesn't interfere with me seeing what I choose to look at? So look, it's transparent, right? I would say it's invisible, but if it was invisible, I wouldn't see anything at all. It has a function that I can see it. But that's the beauty of light and shadow. They're both utterly transparent, beyond normal transparency, right? The sun isn't strong enough now to give you an example, but if there was a shadow on the ground, the shadow I would cast, I can see the shadow, but I don't see what's between it. If the light is very strong, I'll be able to see the line of the shadow, I'll see it, but I can see right through it. So again, the shadow is transparent. So that's the foundation of the point I want to leave with you. Transparent duality states that the light and shadow are always there, even though nearly all of us, I would say a great majority, because I don't want to underestimate the vast network of hidden people that have woken up and see the beautiful things like a mystic. It's always there. Light and shadow are always there. Light is the conscious, shadow is the subconscious. And beyond that, there's the unconscious and other things. But before we go into the triune things and the trinities of life, we start in duality, right? I believe this is why Thoth, Mr. Hermes, he wanted to impress upon us that duality is everything, right? Because that's the basis of life. Male, female, up, down, left, right. Okay? An example, left and right, you have 2 choices. If you look at it like that. Because we often see opposites as being paired together. But if you're thinking directions, you're like, well, up, down, that's not 2, that's 4. Yeah, but it's 2 pairs. It's 2 of 2, right? So that duality can become 4. Again, simplicity to complexity, to extreme complexity. If you want to look at like the 3D realm, X, Y, and Z, like width by larger by height, you know, that's 3. You get into the trinity of things. Again, that to me is simple, but it gets more infinitely complex in the numbers, the equations, the calculations, the algorithms. Life is a beautiful mess of chaos. And chaos is where I have learned to thrive. Because when you fight the chaos of the world, we've been trained to look for order. Order is the unnatural thing, right? You look at nature, right? Just look at these trees right over here. See? There's no order to these trees. Aside from people having lined them up as like a windbreaker that most farmers do, right? Like getting a road lined up, showing things. They can try to order things, but nature becomes chaos anyway. None of the trees are the same height. None of them look the same. They're all unique. But this is a man's attempt to make order, and chaos comes from it anyway. It's ordered chaos, which is kind of the beauty of what we're looking for here. If we put it into another way, in like Dungeons and Dragon terms, it would be, what's the chaotic good? There you go. Let's live within chaotic good. Chaotic neutral's fun, but when you're on the tipping point like that, it can go chaotic bad real fast. You got to be chaotic good. Choose that. Choose the chaos. When you go into the forest, my friends, there's no semblance of order. Like, there's no path unless you make one. You never know what you're going to find. Okay? That's the beauty of chaos. Nature's chaos. This is why we get lost in the world and we start doing things like smoking and other types of drugs and all these other things to get away from the order of our life. We are so trapped in a routine, my friends, that we suffer from it. But it's so normal, c'est banalisé, je peux dire en français, it's normalized, that we even forget. It's like fish swimming in the water, in the ocean. Do you think they're aware that they're underwater? How can you understand something you're in until you see the outside of it, right? One of my good friends one day, he said to me, he said, look, he said, Nimbus, when you're in a relationship and you get out of the relationship, it's like a chicken being hatched from the egg. Get some distance on that. Boom. The chicken's hatched from the egg, he gets out, boom, takes a few steps, he looks back, he says, yo, what the fuck was I just in? You can't see what you're in until you're on the outside of it. That's the beauty of life. We all have these amazing, wonderful, loving, or painful, hateful experiences, whatever it may be, but you can't fully appreciate it until you're on the outside of it. This is why hindsight, which my mother taught me very young, and I'm grateful for that, hindsight is a beautiful thing. Something you should cultivate to cultivate your willpower. It's a study of yourself. What happened? Why did it happen? What could I have done? You know, you analyze the past a little bit. See? You live in the present, but thinking of other situations, you change your present for better things. Always live in the infinite present moment, my friends. There's nothing more beautiful than right now. Because when you live in the now, you can start to say, I don't want to smoke right now. Oh, but just another one, I'll quit later. No, there's no later. You know, Apollo Creed was screaming at Rocky, there is no tomorrow, Rock. There's no tomorrow. I'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow is always coming but never comes. Tomorrow is a false promise. It's a concept that we've created to operate within timelines, to go to jobs and do the routine. But time is a concept created by man. It's very vital, to a degree, to learn to live this existence and operate within society. But it's all just ideals, concepts, and principles we can play with, not supposed to be governed by these things. We created these things to serve us, but we're at a point where we serve it because we're not aware of ourselves. So how can we be aware of the true depth of reality? Okay? When you are lost in a video game, you forget you're in the game. You know, we start thinking we're an NPC. We don't even know, you lose yourself. And there's so many levels of awareness, perception, and intelligence. Some people are horribly lost in the game, and some people are starting to wake up, and some people are like, oh shit, I made the game, it's time to take control. So when I say to you, my friends, I'm done smoking, with every part of my heart, I'll make that happen now. Like I said earlier, the depth of the emotion. It's very serious now. I need to stop. I need to breathe better. When I dream and I work on my black light, which I'll explain another time, I need to be able to breathe through my nose, breathe well, get the oxygen into my lungs. Eh? I used to be quite overweight when my life wasn't going so good. I got up to like 283 pounds. But when I was bigger like that, the extra weight pushing on my lungs, right? And I was smoking, so my lungs are weaker, and you breathe at such a shallow point, there's not a lot of pressure, and that's when you start getting sleep apnea. Because when you're a mouth breather, it elongates your face, it stretches your bone structure, and the new form of your face relaxes. That's you snore at night. Breathing through your nose changes all that. When you breathe through your nose, if memory serves me correctly, your body takes up to like 40% more nitric oxide. Our nose hairs filter things. It's our body's filter. Okay? We're not supposed to breathe through our mouth. Our mouth is there if we're doing like an anaerobic exercise and we need to gasp for more. It's there when we need a big breath. It's the second option, but it's not supposed to be the first and always. Try and practice through your nose. And then you get to a point, always breathing through your nose, your face will stop stretching and stop getting long face. And there's exercises where you can push your tongue to the roof of your mouth. There's things you can do to reshape your face. Be aware of these things. You are not stuck in any point in your life. You're not stuck smoking. You're not stuck drinking. Everything's a choice, but you have to develop your willpower to be greater than your needs and your addictions. Because our addictions are that part of us that's trying to self-medicate. You know, we're all in pain to a certain degree, some more than others. But even if we live the same problems, you and I, how we perceive them causes the pain, right? You know, babies, they'll cry over a small thing. Oh, that scared me. Oh, I dropped my milk. Oh, he cries. Because they have no prior experience. Nothing else exists within the shadow to compare to. It's all new. They live it fast then. Okay? Babies take things and they let it go. They cry all the time, but they're not traumatized from the age of like 1 to 2 unless it's absolutely extreme. But as we grow older and we live not so pleasant things as children, that's what becomes our first bit of trauma. That's why we talk about doing the shadow work, to go in your subconscious, work in your subconscious, to heal the wounded child. Because children have a very little, let's say, level amount of emotional defense. They don't have the experience they need to say, oh, that time Mikey fell off his bike and I saw him like gash his face open. Oh, I don't want to ride a bike anymore. Okay? As an adult, if you're able to go back in and say, oh, people fall, now you know more, you can change the memory. But if you never address that memory, it will stay as a trauma. This, my friends, when we cultivate our willpower, we're able to go back into our subconscious and change these things, okay? So I'll leave you with the basic, and the end result of cultivating your willpower. The reason you need your willpower is to gain agency in your life, control. And that gives you authorship. You can rewrite things. When you have agency, even at the base, you can choose to go into your memories, but they're painful, right? Because our good memories, which I call white pearls, we can access them. They're in our subconscious shadow. I say it's in the library. It's accessible. You go pick a book, white pearl, boom, I can look at it, good memory. But our black pearls, the bad memories, they're not in the library. Our mind puts them in the vault. And the vault is our mind's self-protection system. The vault is how our mind hides the black pearls, so we're not living amongst them, littered all over the place, constantly reminded of them, right? Until we're ready to deal with it. It's not to hurt us, to protect us, but it's supposed to be temporary to the point we'll deal with it later. So when you have something that happens to you that reminds you of that, say, I read The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, and the way Mr. Singer describes it is that when you live something, live it, feel it, let it pass through you, because if it doesn't pass through you, it's a blockage. And then every time something like that happens, similar to the blockage, it re-hits the trauma and you think about it. But how I would like to describe that, it's a wonderful system if you understand it. The reason we rethink about these things is because every memory is the moment of who we were then. Everything's in the moment of now. So when a trauma comes back, that version of you now that was traumatized, because now you're reliving it now, it's now again, it wants to be heard, it wants to be seen, it needs to be healed. And if it stays in the vault and you're not revisiting it, you can't heal these things. But they want to be healed. Every trauma can be healed, everyone. Some are very simple, might be one reason to be traumatized. Others are entirely complex. They have like 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 reasons that they're stuck in there. But the secret of willpower is that we stop putting in the bad memories, we block. We stop doing imbued permanence, which is my term for accumulating negative things. I can't do that, it's impossible. All these things we program ourselves with. When you cut that, you cut all the negative input on yourself, you consciously stop accumulating negativity. Because if all the negative shit in your subconscious is more than the positive, you can't face it. You have no defense. You know, you got a wall of negative and you got this little white pearl, you go throw it, you run away, you're scared. We need more positive than negative to face the negative. We need to cultivate our joy, the white pearls and gold pearls, which I'll explain later. So that's the first step. Block negativity, cultivate your willpower, consciously accumulate white pearls, and not that we go to war with ourselves, but we heal ourselves, we accept ourselves. Because beyond just not forgiving yourself, you know, I've talked about forgiveness myself, my friends, for a while, and it's a beautiful concept. But what I've come to settle with myself is I don't like forgiveness. Well, I don't want to say don't like. It's a wonderful thing if used properly, but for me, it's not the ultimate answer. When you forgive something, you're admitting that a wrong was done. I have something to forgive, so you're still addressing the negative. But in my teaching of the path of zero resistance, it's a radical acceptance of everything. So when you begin the journey I'm going to propose to you, you cut the negative, build the positive, and one by one, maybe even more than one at a time, you start to fix your memories, right? That's the beginning of the self-cultivation, the self-development. Knowing ourselves, healing ourselves. It has to begin slowly, because you have to develop a process that functions and it lasts and it gives lasting results. And when you're dealing with your own mind, I want to say don't play with it. You do, but you have to know how to play with it. Don't take it like a joke. It's very serious. So the point of forgiving yourself, you're saying, okay, I forgive you. But if, let's say you forgive somebody else, for example, before I say what it means to you. If you say, Tommy, I forgive you, the harm stays in there. You've forgiven them, but by forgiving, you're acknowledging the bad. That kind of stays there. When you accept, it doesn't matter good or bad. You don't say there was good or bad. There's nothing to forgive. You just accept it and you move on. Acceptance is the highest level of going past something, living it and letting it go. So when you get really to the path of zero resistance, you don't have to worry so much about battling every little memory. Because as the memories come back, you're in such a level of acceptance. Yeah, that happened in my life, but it's not now. Again, that's the beauty of living right now. Our history that creates depression, it's not now anymore. I can think of what was the now, but it's not now. It doesn't affect me. I'm safe. I learned from history. I learned to maybe be wary of things or be more educated in how to defend myself, but I don't fear the things that hurt me before. I just do it better now. And not even in the future. We anticipate the future as a planification of what we're going to do. But when you want to really think about it, I'm just thinking now, what I'll do later in the now, the better, see? The more in the now, it empowers us. So acceptance kind of bypasses a lot of work. But true acceptance, the radical acceptance I'm talking of, it's hard to obtain. We need experiences that push us, that break us into pieces. Because if we don't break in life, you can't reconstruct yourself. If you become one solid piece of what you have lived, we're a collection of our environment, our experiences, our family, our friends. Everything, my friends, that you see, you hear, you think about, ingrains upon us, goes in the subconscious, it becomes who we are. Which is why they frequently say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are, say. We're the most like our 5 closest friends, because in spending the most time with them, we adapt their habits and their mannerisms and their way of thinking, which is why a lot of mystics, they become hermits. When you start to understand the workings of the world and the deeper mysteries of life, you understand like being alone is really good. Because when you enjoy being alone, you're not affected by the things around you. Being alone is what you need to understand yourself, right? Which makes me think that, as I said, when you get broken, when you get hurt, a lot of times we spend some time alone, we cry, we want to be alone because we just don't want to see anyone, we want to get away from the world, but in that time, that's when we reflect. But the problem is, if you're not strong enough to pick yourself back up, a lot of people, they need those others, and that's fine. We need others to help us and heal us at times. But the ultimate goal is to be strong enough to pick ourselves back up, to be self-sufficient, to cultivate yourself to a point that even when you get broken, you pick up a few pieces, put the rest in your pocket, put a few together to function and keep going. Our adaptability is what gives us strength. Again, it comes from our willpower. If you have no will, how can you actively adapt? Without willpower, it's life that chooses who we are instead of choosing what life can be for us. Because my friends, a deep truth, if I can share it lightly, we are the world and we are the people. You're me and I'm you. So when you get that deep into it, you understand that you'll lose your individuality if you let everything else control you. Because at the same time that we're one, we're many beautiful pieces of the same broken glass that shines amazing colors. I believe Carl Jung called it individuation. When someone develops their consciousness so strongly to a point that they truly become an individual. You know about the light and shadow. You know that you're conscious and develop the joy of being conscious, but you understand your subconscious so much, you get to the point where you can integrate it. Shadow integration. And then you are both consistently your light and shadow. Then I would think it's a newer term because I've heard it recently. I haven't checked when it initially came out, but metacognition. To be aware of your thinking. To constantly be aware that you exist, and that gives you the two halves of the whole, right? You ever wonder why we have two parts of our brain, the two lobes? Because we're all two people in one. At all times we're conscious and unconscious. And being aware of that will deepen your use and capacity to exercise your willpower. There's nothing more wonderful than that. Because when you fully optimize and control your willpower, there's nothing more human than that. You don't follow the crowd. You lead the crowd. You don't want to be part of the masses. You want to be the one that the masses look at and be like, oh, I want to be an individual too. You become so truly yourself and unique in the creation that you start to cultivate. You inspire others to follow you, and you create things. With your beautiful willpower intact and booming and flourishing and shining so everyone can see, even so much that you can't not see it, and you live within the beauty of your willpower, which even I'm still cultivating. It's a hard path. But then that gives you the inspiration. Be a creator, my friend. We're all creators. Create yourself first. Because in creating yourself, you'll discover your level and your capacity for creation. What you can do, what you can't do. Know yourself, learn yourself. Make small creations, keep getting bigger. Live in service of others. And create yourself to be something that inspires others just to be in your presence. Share your knowledge, share your wisdom. Help people when you can, but not if it's detrimental to you or them, right? You can't help others to hurt yourself unless it's an extreme situation. You know, there's always extreme situations, but choose your battles. But remember that in the terms of willpower, the first battle is with ourselves. And when you get to a next level, it's not a battle, it's a dance. The dance in the world to not have imposter syndrome and not be an imposter with yourself. And learn your other side. The light and the dark want to dance together. And when we stop fighting ourselves, beautiful things can happen.